The Xbox and PlayStation events have kicked off for summer 2020, showing the world what the hardware, consoles, and games will look like as we enter into a new generation with the Xbox Series X and PS5. Let's take a look at what both have to offer and how it will shape the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Xbox has an eclectic, diverse offering of games that span multiple genres, but the platform is relying on timed exclusives from third-party, multi-platform developers. They showcased the console with Hellblade 2 Senua Saga. Very little was shown of this game, but it put to rest that Xbox Game Studios could not bring a mature, realistic story-based game, and the visuals have made believers in the power and talent of the hardware on tap for Xbox. We're still waiting to see Hellblade 2 in action, but Xbox said Ninja Theory is in various stages of development on this massive game that spans the continent of Iceland. Next is the haunting, creepily drenched, industrial gorish Scorn, a first-person shooter that relies on organic interaction with alien-like environments and creative weapons powered by flesh, blood, and bone. Scorn is exclusive to the Xbox Series X and not able to run on the Xbox One era hardware. Chorus is a story-based space battle game with glorious shimmering visuals in deep space with galactic backdrops meant to run at full 4K 60 with ray tracing thanks to the Xbox Series X DirectX RT support. Chorus relies on fast movement and blooming lighting and explosive effects in and out of battle cinematics. Call of the Sea is a 1930s-inspired paradisal adventure first-person game that has the bright visuals of Sea of Thieves. For now, it's a timed exclusive for the Xbox platform and PC. It is planned for the launch window of the Xbox Series X. The Ascent, exclusive to Xbox, is an isometric twin-stick shooter with a story campaign, a solo and co-op action RPG set in a cyberpunk world. The mega corporation that owns you and everyone. The Ascent group just collapsed. Confusion and chaos ensue, security and order are in disarray, and without protection, everyone is left to fend for themselves. Stop gangs and hostile corporations from taking over, and discover what really happened. Right Memory Infinite is a hard-hitting, vibrant, and stormy first-person shooter with grappling, swordplay, and striking visuals, coming to PC and Xbox Series X, first as a timed exclusive. It is one of the most impressive games Xbox has shown for their platform. Players take control of Sheila, who, in addition to using guns and swords, also has supernatural abilities such as psychokinesis and unleashing energy blasts. All forms of attacks can be combined as desired, and the game will award letter grades for creative combinations similar to Devil May Cry. It is being created by a small, talented team of Chinese developers. For now, there is no plan for this game on PS5. Second Extinction is a smaller title with big enemies taking place in a land overrun with mutated dinosaurs. It focuses on team-based 3-player co-op with an arsenal of weapons in the first-person shooter brought to us by the team that created Generation Zero under the Avalanche Studio. The Medium is an impressive duality spirit world game that focuses on a woman with specialized psychic powers that allow her to see the afterlife and the real world simultaneously, all in real time, in-game. The Medium also showcases some incredible visuals and art style for the Xbox Series X, where it will be exclusive to console. Bloober Studio is working on this game for the holiday of 2020 console launch and has been catching eyes with this creepy and apparition-filled underworld. Exo Mecha is a free-to-play first-person Titanfall-esque and Transformers-inspired multiplayer shooter with reflective visuals and hard-hitting combat set to release exclusively on console to the Xbox Series X, and looks to have ray tracing in real time on reflective guns and enemies in beautiful backdrops. Exo Mecha looks like an excellent fit for the home of shooters on Xbox, coming sometime in the launch year of the Xbox Series X in 2021. Halo Infinite opened the last show for Xbox with an impressive continuous gameplay segment that lasted over 5 minutes, with Doom-inspired fast-paced combat across a large, spacious, explorable map and a wide variety of weapons. Gameplay was what we wanted from 343, a callback to Combat Evolved, with hip-firing, classic weapons, and the return of the brutes. The main problem was the visuals were extremely lacking compared to past titles. The overall presentation of colors and clarity were flat, with pop-in that should not be present in a cross-generation game. 343 has 4 months to get the game to look as incredible as Halo 5, and hopefully better. Xbox teams say that Halo looks better each week, and we'll have more to see in August. State of Decay 3 is the next exclusive game from Xbox Game Studios, and Undead Labs, the team behind the series, have made leaps from the first game to the sequel, and now with the team doubled in size, we can expect to see a full breadth of visuals and animation worthy of such an immersive survival zombie game like State of Decay. This one looks to be adding a snow-covered landscape and introduces wild and infected animals to introduce more threats to solo and team-based survivors in a post-apocalyptic game. State of Decay 3 is out at least a couple of years to 2022. Forza Motorsports has been releasing on Xbox every other year for decades, and Turn 10 has consistently released the highest rated and best field of racing on console up to Forza 7 in 2017. Now with a 3-year span, and with the next Forza Motorsports early in development, it looks like a true next-generation Forza game will run at full 4K 60 with ray tracing, with the tried and true Forza physics engine, and most beautiful full-bodied racing experience with hundreds of cars and dozens of tracks, likely coming in the holiday of 2022. Everwild is a big game being created by Rare, exclusive to the Xbox Series X, and we still don't know what it is or what it's about or what we will do. There's a strong emphasis on world building and cultivating wildlife in a spiritual, primitive, magical world. The game will be unlike many other games, and the visuals have captivated audiences still curious as to what the game is and when we will see it release. Crossfire X is a free-to-play competitive shooter, but Remedy is working on a full story-based campaign with hints of Call of Duty mixed with fear, pitting two international factions against each other in a global conflict. The game campaign for Crossfire X looks impressive, has callbacks to Crysis, and is fully exclusive to Xbox consoles and PC, meaning it may never come to PlayStation or the PS5 due to the partnership with Smilegate and Remedy. Yet another big game to be a part of the launch of the Xbox Series X very soon. The Gunk is a beautiful, whimsical alien world game from the creators of SteamWorld. It sets a duo of space travelers on a colorful planet infested with goo that must be strategically cleared to traverse the alien landscape. Stalker 2 is an open-world, unique blend of first-person shooter, immersive sim and horror with a really thick atmosphere. One of the biggest open worlds to date is yours to explore, along with an epic branching story with multiple endings set in Chernobyl. The game will feature an epic, non-linear story. Your choices will influence both short-term consequences and global outcomes. Stalker 2 is coming exclusively to the Xbox Series X and PC. Warhammer 40,000 Darktide is a visceral 4-player co-op game set in the Hive City of Tertium. Fight together with your friends against hordes of enemies in this new Warhammer experience. Darktide invokes the Metro series with underworld zombies with its first-person shooter, Left 4 Dead-styled gameplay. Their last game launched on Xbox Game Pass day and date, and so will this one, exclusive to Xbox Series X. The biggest new game in the works from Obsidian is the Skyrim-inspired Avowed, a massive open-world fantasy RPG that has you traveling across an expansive world with two huge cities and physics-based magic and first-person sword combat. Next-gen AI systems and interactivity, and big, giant bosses. It's too early to see what Avowed looks like, but expect it to be Obsidian's next-level Skyrim on next-generation hardware. Finally, the flagship RPG for Xbox is Playground Games' Fable, a reboot of the fantasy open-world RPG made famous by Lionhead Studios. Be ready to explore a land of fantastical creatures and wondrous places. Fable has been in development for about 2 years, and we will likely see what it looks like in the next year, but this return to an immersive, magical world full of varied combat, world and character building is something that has been missing on the Xbox for many years. Fable surprised many, with others expecting it since last year. All told, the Xbox games shown this year, including the ones covered right here, showed a combined amount of 9 minutes and 52 seconds of gameplay. Footage of gameplay when you would be under the control of the game, with 4.5 minutes of that belonging to Halo Infinite. We will take a look at the transformative adjustment to Halo Infinite that I want to share with you after the PS5 segment. Stand by for that. But let's look at what Sony has to offer exclusively to the PS5 starting in 2020. A surprising early look at one of the hallmarks of the PS4, Marvel's Spider-Man returns in a standalone PS5 only expansion built upon the 2018 Spider-Man, this time with Miles Morales behind the mask in New York City. This time the tone is moodier and gloomy with a more visceral take on the Spider-Man adventure. With just 2 years for Insomniac to rebuild and reimagine the game, we will be playing as Miles for launch of the PS5 this holiday 2020. Insomniac's full effort goes into the upcoming Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, taking the former game and cranking up physics, particles, and SSD-powered world movement into the next generation. You'll be able to literally bring the world and universe to you in combat and traversal. Ratchet & Clank has the look and feel of a cinematic, filmic look according to the hardware leads at PlayStation, and chooses to crank up visuals, animation, and interactions at 30 FPS on the PS5. Finally, a true next-generation full-feature return for the racing franchise since the PlayStation 3, the all-new Gran Turismo 7 is coming to PS5 with full-tilt visuals, fast performance racing, ray tracing, and the entire scope that makes the Gran Turismo series one of the top sims on console. Gameplay was shown at length, and this is the racing game that PlayStation fans have been waiting for to truly compete with Xbox's Forza. Project Athea is likely a timed exclusive for the PS5, a female lead and a strong emphasis on fighting with terrestrial powers and combat that has made the franchise famous, designed exclusively for the PS5. House Marquee, the talent behind Resogun and Nex Machina, are making a full-featured single-story campaign third-person combat game with tones reminiscent of Death Stranding, with fast-paced shooting and quick reflexes that are the mainstay of this studio's games. This is Returnal, and we don't expect to see it in the first-year launch for the PS5. There were some smaller games shown, and it was a lull in the PS5 event, but many of the smaller games looked impressive in their own ways. Little Big Planet 4 is coming as Sackboy Big Adventure by Sumo Digital, the team behind the last Little Big Planet and Xbox's Crackdown 3. Destruction All-Stars perked eyes and ears as a mix of Rocket League, Demolition Derby, and Bleeding Edge, and Apex Legends characters. This is a smaller online competitive game that could possibly strike the popularity that captured games like Twisted Metal and Rocket League. Kena Bridge of Spirits is a whimsical fantasy action game with DreamWorks-like visuals and satisfying combat with colorful attacks and adorable enemies. Kena doesn't look like the full next-generation game, but PlayStation is committed to allowing developers to make the kind of games these studios desire, whether they are big or they are small. We finally see Gearbox's published Godfall running on the PS5, and it looks like a shiny game ripped from older generations with updated graphics. Godfall has some impressive hard-hitting combat that evokes God of War and Assassin's Creed Odyssey mechanics, but underwhelming with shallow art style that portrayed medieval Thundercats in a Warframe-like gameplay loop online, cooperatively with friends. Demon's Souls is a legacy PlayStation staple that has spawned the incredibly successful Dark Souls and Bloodborne genre. They showed a pre-rendered trailer of cinematics to get fans excited about this title that we may not see until after 2021. Next was the grindhouse thriller shooter and melee combo game called Deathloop, a Dishonored gun-kana game by Arcane Studios that sees you replaying sections of the game after dying over and over to perfectly kill your way to a grisly revenge plot. PlayStation paid for timed exclusivity for this stylized action game, so we may not see this game on Xbox until a full year after it launches on PS5 sometime in 2021 or 2022. PlayStation saved the best for last. Arguably the best new IP of the generation, Guerrilla Games' sequel Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West. Horizon Zero Dawn takes place on a futuristic Earth devoid of animal life and ruled by robotic creatures. This time, the animals are coming back, and a new infestation of flora is corrupting the machines, killing life and threatening humanity. And Aloy is leading the charge again to save Earth from total destruction. The game is shown in mostly pre-rendered in-engine visuals with gameplay feels showcased, again at 30 FPS. Guerrilla may decide to ramp up visuals, lighting, and animations instead of targeting 60 FPS on the PS5. We won't know for sure until gameplay is shown, and Horizon Zero Dawn Forbidden West is not releasing in the launch window, but we may not have to wait too long into the future to see Aloy's adventure on the new prehistoric Earth. The PS5 exclusives and timed exclusive reveals. Keep in mind we didn't have time to show every single game from the Xbox Series X and PS5. The total shown gameplay clocked from each and every PlayStation game totaled 6 minutes and 56 seconds, with Xbox showing about 3 more minutes of total actual gameplay from the reveals. More importantly, the biggest games from each platform did not show much, if any, gameplay at all. This is a testament to the state of the world right now, with developers around the world working from home, away from their studios, away from their teams and tools available on site. One thing is for sure, that the PS5 and Xbox Series X both have amazing games coming this next couple of years, and there are definitely more than one reason to be excited to play on one, the other, or both this holiday 2020. This is Colteastwood. Thank you so much for watching. Right now, Xbox fans and gaming fans excited for Halo Infinite are not satisfied with the current look of the game as far as graphics and quality, but I did this adjustment to the game footage since it was obvious that the lighting work was not correctly balanced. In late day clear sunshine, shadows should be dark and rich with high contrast. I have color corrected, balanced shadow intensity in shaded areas, and when you see it on and when you see it off from the original footage shown at the Xbox Showcase, you can see a clear difference. If you enjoyed this video and it helped me make a decision where to play, let me know by liking the video, subscribe for more content, and join the channel or Patreon for early access and giveaways. I'll let this play out so you can see for yourself. Have a great week, leave feedback in the comments, and please, be nice.